Let me bring you to the results. A lot of people during the process, a lot of people got worried, and a lot of people are usually worried when the results take so long in coming out. But because, as the INEC chairman told me, the legal framework that currently guides the conduct and collation exercise specifically stipulates that it be manual, and that therefore for anything like that to occur, there would need to be an amendment to the law. But then, so many people have mentioned the issue of electronic, that, yeah, you know, why can't we just do it electronically? The results are sent from the polling units directly to INEC headquarters, then it's a question of maths to put it together. But others have also urged caution on the issue of electronic voting. Where do you stand?
Well, let me again react to the position of INEC.
Yes.
On
manual, yes,
collation or compilation of results. I do not agree. Just like when the Supreme Court held that the use of car readers was illegal. I couldn't believe that. To say that using a technological device, you know, to perform a duty is illegal. I can't understand it. And that was why I did say then, and I did write, I reacted to the judgment by bringing out the provision of the law, section 52 of the Electoral Act as amended in 2015, to the effect that INEC has been empowered to use any device, to adopt any mayor, to conduct a credible election in Nigeria. And that provision was amending the provision that had banned, that had prohibited the use of any form of electronic system in our election. So it was replaced. So with that amendment, we can't go back to the past. So that is the law today. Even if you want to have electronic voting now, it's covered under the law. But I have my fears, and this I've expressed. As long as you have the culture of impunity that has become the order of the day in our country, no system will work. We saw it in Kenya, where the system was hacked into. And that is what is going on in the US. America has been investigating their own electoral manipulation since 2016. Here, two leading professional bodies, ICANN and the NBA, Nigerian Bar Association, try to introduce e-voting. Both of the decisions have ended up in court, where the leaders have been accused of sitting down in the secretariat to manipulate using, emails to generate votes for chosen candidates. So those are the dangers. Based on our experience, we need to guide against the hijacking of the machines if you want to introduce electronic voting. Again, you will need to educate our people. And that is possible. In the space of 4 years, we can wipe out illiteracy in this country if the political will is there. But you're not going to succeed in introducing electronic voting if the culture of manipulating the electoral process continues. Some people will just hijack the machine, as you have seen in the case of the car readers. They will demobilize the car readers. And there's nothing you can do about that.
Mr. Falana, as we're winding this down, I want to ask about something a bit personal to you. You were part of those who fought actually, in the run-up to the return to democracy, the start of the Fourth Republic. And whenever I have the opportunity to ask anyone of you who participated in that, Odisa Bakobaise and yourself and a number of others, I still said that I was telling a couple of my colleagues in the office that I remember you standing at the top of a car in 1998 and talking to some people in Ikeja. That was at the height. You went to prison, you went to detention several times. Now, I expected that you would have been one of those who would have been happiest when June 12 was declared Democracy Day as opposed to May 29. There were arguments back and forth over whether it had political motivation by those who did it or not and so on. What did you make of that, given the background from which you were coming and your own role in that background of the June 12 election and the crisis that followed it, leading to military rule before we came to the Fourth Republic?
I will tell you very honestly that many of us in the pro-democracy human rights movement had dismissed the entire fraudulent transition program, unending transition program of former military president, General Ibrahim Babangida. We had no faith in it. But when the Nigerian people decided, when the Nigerian people voted on June 12, 1993, we were convinced that the mandate had to be defended so as to ease out the military from the political process. And so, when the June 12 mandate was recognized by the government, I thought that some restoration, some reconciliation, when the truth has been told, you then reconcile. I thought some genuine reconciliation was going on. And when the president of a country apologized on behalf of the nation for the monumental injustice done by the military dictatorship of Generals Babangida and Sonia Abacha, I thought that was a good beginning. But for me, the greatest tribute that can be paid to the heroes of the democratic struggle is for the political class and the government in particular to ensure that democracy, constitutionalism, the rule of law, and human rights are observed in our country. But if all others are disregarded, if human rights are violated, and the provisions of the Constitution are breached, there are problems. In fact, you question even the recognition of the June 12 mandate. It can be very painful for some of us. I remember in one of our, I think the late Chief Ganifa Wemi, the late Dr. Ben Koransam Kuti and I were detained in Kuje prison. I think it was 1992. And were charged with, taken to a Guagulanda Chief Magistrate Court and charged with treasonable felony. 5 of us. The late Chief Wemi and I had to defend our colleagues and ourselves. And the gravamen of our submission that day was that those who should be standing trial for treason were in the villa. We hadn't removed the government. We're only fighting that the military should quit the political scene. And therefore we hadn't committed an offense. such as treasonable felony or treason. And of course, the chief magistrate will say, please get to my, save my job, and save my life. I'm here, to decide your fate. And of course, by the nature of our submissions, the case ended that day, the government couldn't afford to come to court because we wanted to use the case as a trial, wanted to turn it to the trial of those who were in the villa. I mean, the military rulers who had overthrown, governments in our country. But I think the government got a wind of what we were planning and simply abandoned the case until it was dismissed for want of diligent prosecution. We never thought in our widest imagination that we're going to have this rickety democracy, whereby the rights of our people are taken for granted, whereby Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which has guaranteed the democratic rights of our people, the socio-economic rights of our people, are observed in their breach. We never knew. Because when Section 14 says the welfare and the security of the people shall be the primary purpose of government, we couldn't have thought that you will have a government, or we have governments that will not take the security and welfare of our people seriously.
Do you think then it was a mistake, with the benefit of hindsight, that when it came to General Abdul Salami's transition program, many of you who fought simply stayed away?
No, because many of us simply wanted to go back to our practice. Others felt, having removed military dictatorship in our country, we had no cause to want to join the political fray. I mean, it wasn't a mistake.
Because 20 years later, many of you are still fighting.
What now happened later, when we saw what happened between 1999 and 2003, some of us saw that, we're in trouble. And we tried to be part of the process. We're told, sorry. We've taken over the system. But again, I can tell you, very soon, we're coming back very seriously to the political arena.
When you say we, who's we?
I'm talking of many of the forces that chase the military out of power. We're also going to organize to chase out of power civilians who are messing up our country, who are destroying our future. Because it's a wonderfully rich country. A wonderful country. When you travel around Africa, you thank God that you're in Nigeria. But the potentiality of our country will not be realized if you continue this way, this trajectory of destruction.
We are going to do this through the democratic process.
For sure. We're not going to engage in any coup or whatever. It is to go out there and mobilize our people genuinely. And I don't mean mobilizing for election. I'm not going to wait till 2023. No. We've started. Where our people are being victimized, we'll go there and solidarize with them. We're not just going to remove human rights activists or heroes. No. We want to empower the people to defend their rights on their own. I mean, you take Lagos here. We just had a building collapse, or two buildings have collapsed in Lagos. And the Lagos state government is setting up a panel. No, we're rejecting that. One of the civil society organizations has already written to the chief coroner in Lagos, set up a coroner's inquest. We want an independent investigation so that we actually can know what happened. Because that building, the first building where school children were killed, had been marked for demolition. It's not the government that will tell us what happened, why it was not demolished. In Abia, almost 100 people were killed last year through one of the pipes of NNPC. I think it's at the bus or whatever, and people went to school for fuel. Over 100 people. We are there. We want to get NNPC to fix all those pipelines across the country. And such incidents do not impose our politicians. But that's not the kind of politics we're going to engage in. The politics of relevance, politics of identifying with our people, and politics of looking for solutions to their problems. Oh, yes.
Mr. Falana, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you.